After he was shot somewhere in the area of Woodrow Wilson and Powers, he was then transported to his home by his uncle. Instead of seeking immediate medical attention, he was dropped off at the home, then the uncle left. And then the child was subsequently taken to the hospital by, his mother. We're so thankful that this child was not severely injured. We feel that he is going to recover. We are soliciting help from the public as to what happened, any information they may have in reference to this very heinous act on this 12-year-old child. As I stated before, a threat to him is a threat to all of us. And what's concerning about this, I was sitting here last Monday talking about a 3-year-old being shot. Now I'm sitting here today talking about a 12-year-old being shot. We have to do better as a community, as a city, as adults, and as leaders to protect our children, to know their whereabouts, to know what's going on with them, and also know who these individuals are who are perpetrating these crimes against our youth in our community. Again, thank God that this child is going to be okay. But if there's anybody who has any information about this crime, please contact the Jackson Police Department at 601-960-1234 or Crime Stoppers at 601-355-TIPS. We owe it to our youth to protect them and to find out who cannot deal with conflict. We continue to have a population of individuals who do not know how to deal with conflict. They go from zero to an assault rifle. Then you compound that with no value for human life. So I'm asking for help from the public. I'm soliciting help from the public to help us find out what happened to this 12-year-old, because it's their family today. It could be yours tomorrow.
Logic suggests that the shot was aiming for the uncle and the kid was caught in the crossfire. Do you have any suggestions that may be the case?
Yeah, we can't prove or disprove that right now. We are yet to get a formal statement from the uncle. We hope to get that today. My team has been reaching out to him, and hopefully he can shed some light on what happened to this child, because no 12-year-old should have to deal with the trauma of being shot. And this child was not by himself. He was with an adult. But that adult, we hope that he can shed some light on this. As I stated, he didn't immediately seek medical help for his nephew. He took him home. And then he left. And then the family, of course, did the responsible thing, dealing with that trauma and tragedy of this 12-year-old being shot when it sought medical attention.
Is that a red flag to you, Chief, the fact that he didn't seek medical attention for his nephew right away?
Very concerning to me. I have nephews and nieces, and if one of them is shot while they're in my custody or they're with me or I'm responsible for that child, I would be calling for AMR. I would be dialing 911. I would be running every red light between that location and the hospital to get my loved one to the hospital. I would not take that child home and then leave. That draws a lot of red flags for me, and we're going to deep dive as to why he did that. What was his thinking, his rationale in making that decision, which was not very responsible, if you're asking my personal opinion.
You mentioned it being a deep dive. Is there any information about this person? Like, is he one of the borns? Is he one that's anywhere across the nation?
I don't want to divulge that information right now, but we look forward to talking to him. We want to hold the person accountable who shot this 12-year-old. We want to hold that person accountable or persons accountable for who shot that 12-year-old. The uncle knows who did it. We need to know that. If there are any witnesses, we got some vague information about the possible location. Upon going to that location, we did not find a crime scene, nor did we find any witnesses or evidence of a shooting. So again, we're going to deep dive, try to glean some information from him or anybody else, but we ask for the community to please step forward and help us, help the Jackson Police Department solve this case against this 12-year-old child.
So it was reported at Woodrow Wilson and Powers. But you found no evidence of anything that happened at that location.
Yeah, we sent our detective team out there. They canvassed the area. They talked to individuals in the area. there was no information. You have to realize this was around 11:30 at night, approaching midnight. So it was dark. We're continuing to follow up, but there was no evidence of anything happening at that location. Not saying that it didn't happen there, but we don't have the evidence to support it. But we'll deep dive and find out what happened. Our goal is to find out who shot this child, why they shot this child, and hold them accountable for their actions. That's my number one goal.
Is there a possibility the uncle could be a suspect?
We're not ruling out anything right now. And I don't want to name him or anybody else as a suspect until we get the information to support that allegation. But we look forward to talking to him to find out why he made that decision to take the child home instead of seeking medical attention. That's unusual at best. That's very unusual. That's very peculiar, activity on his part to do that. So we'll be deep diving as to what that looks like. I look forward to our conversation with him, and more importantly, continue to keep this 12-year-old family uplifted in prayer and hold the perpetrator accountable for his or her actions.
Do you know why the 12-year-old was out at 11:30 at night with his uncle?
I don't know. I do not know. That's a very good question. Of course, we're dealing with the trauma and the tragedy of this incident. Again, I do not like sitting here talking about a 3-year-old being shot last weekend. Now this weekend, a 12-year-old. Is very concerning. It's very disheartening. It is very traumatic for our city to constantly endure this all the time. Our homicide numbers are going down, based on where we were last year. Right now, we're at 74 compared to 83 last year. But Scott, all that doesn't matter, because it's not from a lack of trying that we haven't surpassed 83. That we had 6 people shot on Maple Street last weekend. So again, it's not from a lack of trying, but just by God's grace, these people didn't lose their life. All right?
You want to talk about kidnapping? Yes.
Yes.
Can you tell us about the kidnapping incident?
Yes. On Saturday night, around the same time, around 11:30 p.m., Jackson police officers were called to 5405 Marblehead in reference to a domestic disturbance. Upon their arrival, they discovered that a black male, Jamarian Merritt, had abducted his girlfriend, Shalonda Francis. He's 22, she's 20. He forced her into the vehicle that he had, and I would emphasize the vehicle that he had because it wasn't his, it was a stolen carjacked vehicle. He put her in that vehicle, then of course he fled the scene. She was taken to Yazoo City. Thanks to the collaboration by the Jackson Police Department getting that information out, we received assistance from the Yazoo County Sheriff's Department. We put out the information about this 2019 Infiniti QX60 that he was in. Again, I want to note that it was a carjacked vehicle. He was subsequently apprehended. She was treated for some injuries at a local hospital. But it's a sad situation again, but this was a boyfriend who could not deal with conflict, who resorted to domestic violence. Then he subsequently kidnapped her, took her to Yazoo City. He was apprehended, and he is facing some very serious charges here in Jackson: kidnapping, felony fleeing, and possession of a stolen carjacked vehicle.
And I guess my question, Chief, you kind of touched on it. I guess just how disappointing or disheartening is it to know that people can't resolve their conflicts without having to.
Well, and the thing about it, and that's almost a culture that we're dealing with. People can't stand rejection. They don't know how to deal with conflict. So I don't know what the issue was with him and his girlfriend or what had led him to that, but to get violent, to abuse her, to kidnap her in a stolen carjacked vehicle that didn't belong to you, which compounds the situation. Then, of course, also to not to respond to or adhere to law enforcement attempting to apprehend you. It had to, go all the way up to Yazoo City. But thanks to our team and our collaboration, we were able to resolve this matter. He will be held accountable on these very, very serious charges, and we're praying for her speedy recovery.
Trick question here, and I don't mean it to be, because the challenges of a task force it's hard to tackle domestic issues like these, the kid shot. These are not armed robbery. How do you think that task force will be able to turn the table on some of this?
Well, the thing about it, a lot of the issues that we are facing in our community, and you just hit a very good point. A lot of these issues don't start at 327 East Pascagoula Street. They don't start at the police department. They start in someone's home. They don't call us in advance, hey, I'm about to have a domestic, head this way. It happens, it transpires, and it creates just a cycle of violence because it does not necessarily end with that mother, father, boyfriend, and girlfriend. You have children that are experiencing that trauma as well. So it creates a cycle of violence. Whatever I can do as a police chief to mitigate it, to get involved on the front end, I'm willing to do that. But it's going to take a collaborative effort. You're talking about the community. You're talking about the churches. You're talking about social workers as they navigate these situations and circumstances, because it creates a lot of trauma for the children involved and the adults involved in those situations.
Especially when a 12-year-old has to describe the muzzle blast. Kids shouldn't be able to describe that, right?
No, he shouldn't. He should be, again, I was talking about my godson. My kids are graduated from college, but my godson is 13. He's always at the house on the weekends, and only thing he's concerned about is playing video games and eating, right? And that's what kids should be concerned about at that age, playing video games, eating, playing sports. They should not have to endure the trauma of being shot. So that's something that we don't want to happen to anyone, especially our children and our community.
Yeah, all right, so tomorrow, Chief, the Hinds County judge is gonna make a decision on whether or not to tear down Hotel O. Just what are your thoughts? Do you think this is something that'll be beneficial?
It would be absolutely beneficial to the city of Jackson, to the citizens who stay near that hotel, to the businesses that operate near that hotel, and just for the overall aesthetics for the city of Jackson. It's an eyesore. I've been out there myself multiple times to see the drug use, the homeless individuals staying there, the people suffering from mental illness that are staying there. It's horrific. And it will increase the quality of life for everybody in that area and also help the city of Jackson grow in a positive direction.
Anything else you'd like to talk about while we have you here?
I think that's enough, Scott.
I think you covered a lot of it.
Yes.
Thank you. To provide you the opportunity.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
All right. That's it. We may be doing something at 2:00. I have Tommy to reach out to you. It's something I'm thinking about going out to a location, but we won't know for sure until probably about an hour or so from now. We'll let you know.
Just don't tell Channel 3 about it, okay?
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is WLBT Plus. Again, my name is Kara Shirley. I'm your digital news desk host. And what we just saw there was a press conference from Jackson Police Chief Joseph Wade talking about some incidents that happened here in Jackson over the weekend. First thing that Chief Wade spoke on was the 12-year-old little boy who was shot this weekend. As if that isn't horrible enough, what happened to this child kind of adds insult to injury, if you will. So the shooting happened around Woodrow Wilson and Power Street about 11:30 Saturday night. So the 12-year-old boy was there with his uncle. They were walking down the road, and somehow or another, we don't know exactly how or why it happened, but the boy was shot in the back. The uncle then took the little boy to his parents' house, the little boy's parents' house, his mom, instead of taking him to the hospital. The mom then took him to the emergency room. Thankfully, the child is okay, but Police Chief Joseph Wade is needing to speak with the uncle. They have not yet spoke with him, wanting to get a statement from him. They're saying they're not ruling anybody out as a suspect right now, not necessarily saying that the uncle is guilty of anything, but they are saying nobody is ruled out as a suspect at this moment. So when they went to the location of where they were told the shooting happened, the Chief Wade says they did not find a crime scene or any evidence of a shooting there. So again, this happened about 11:30 Saturday night at Woodrow Wilson and Power. So if you know any information on this, if you heard anything, if you witnessed anything, if you have security cameras, Ring doorbell cameras at your home, and check it, see if you see anything, see if you hear anything, and if you do, let the Jackson Police Department know about it. Contact Jackson Police Department at 601-960-1234, or you can contact Crime Stoppers at 601-355-TIPS. Chief Wade went on to say how last weekend he had a press conference regarding a shooting that happened last weekend where a 3-year-old was shot. And then you have a 12-year-old being shot this weekend. He said it doesn't start at the police station. Fixing these crimes, fixing the criminal element here in Jackson to keep it from happening. It doesn't start at the police station. It starts at home. It starts at home, and it starts in the community. He did say that the homicide numbers compared to last year are down, 74 so far this year, 83 at this time last year. So right now we're sitting at 74 homicides here in Jackson. At this time last year, we had 83 homicides. So if you have any information on this, if you have any information on any of the shootings that have happened, whether it be from the one last weekend, this weekend, or any other info, please contact Jackson Police Department, 601-960-1234, and then 355-TIPS, 601-355-TIPS, TIPS is the number for Crime Stoppers. He also told us about a domestic dispute that happened this weekend on Marblehead, is at 5505 Marblehead. Individual by the name of Jamarian Merritt, age 22, abducted his girlfriend after a domestic dispute. Abducted her, and she was then, or he got her. They were traveling on Highway 49 towards Yazoo City. They were able to stop him. They were able to get the girlfriend, took her to the hospital to be treated for some injuries. It says this man now is being charged with kidnapping, felony fleeing, and auto theft. So those are the two instances that he spoke about of crimes that happened this weekend. If you have any information regarding any of those, again, please contact Jackson Police Department at 601-960-1234. or Crime Stoppers at 601-355-TIPS. Also, want to remind you guys, this Thursday, we will be having a live Q&A with our Jackson Chief Joseph Wade, who we just saw there. So we're going to be talking to him. This Thursday is actually his 1-year anniversary, if you will, of being the Jackson Police Chief. He was confirmed August the 29th of last year as Jackson Chief of Police. We're going to be doing a live Q&A with him, sitting down with him, asking questions. But we need the questions from you guys. You can submit them by emailing askchiefwade@WLBT.com. Again, that is askchiefwade@WLBT.com. If you have any questions that you would like to ask him, please send those in. And we are going to be doing that this Thursday here on WLBT Plus at 1 o'clock. So make sure you tune in, send in your questions, and then tune in this Thursday. Again, what we talked about in the press conference just a few minutes ago, spoke of the 12-year-old little boy who was shot this weekend. It happened approximately 11:30 Saturday night. They were down walking on Woodrow Wilson and Powers near that area. And the little boy was shot. If you have any information on this, please contact Jackson Police Department, 601-1234, or Crime Stoppers at 355-TIPS. And we will have more news for you later on. So make sure you stick around or plan on tuning back in. I'll be back for WLBT Plus at 1 o'clock. And I will see you guys then. Bye.